In August 2025, 5 Al Jazeera journalists lost their lives in a single, devastating Israeli airstrike on a media tent outside Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City. The tent, intended as a sanctuary for reporters covering the conflict, became the site of unimaginable tragedy. In a matter of moments, a place meant for safety and truth-telling was reduced to rubble, with press vests and cameras scattered among the debris, a stark reminder of the risks journalists face every day in war zones. Their deaths were not just another tragic headline, they struck at the very heart of press freedom and underscored the immense dangers faced by those who risk everything to bring the world stories from the front lines. The loss reverberated far beyond Gaza, sending shockwaves through newsrooms and press organizations worldwide, and igniting urgent conversations about the safety of journalists in conflict. These journalists, Anasal-Sharif, Mohammed Kreke, Ibrahim Zahir, Mohammed Nufal, and Moamen Aliwa, were not just names on a byline. They were the world's primary eyes and ears inside Gaza, documenting the realities of war and filling the void left by restricted international media access. Their reporting provided a lifeline of information to the outside world, often at great personal risk. Their loss is both a profound human tragedy and a critical blow to independent reporting from the region. Colleagues, friends, and families mourned not only the individuals, but also the silencing of voices that worked tirelessly to ensure the world did not look away from Gaza's suffering. This story examines the circumstances of their deaths, the conflicting narratives that followed, and the broader implications for journalism in war. We will explore the investigations, the search for accountability, and the questions that remain unanswered. When journalists are killed, who is left to tell the story? Who will bear witness to the suffering, the resilience, and the truth on the ground? What happens when their neutrality is questioned and their safety is compromised? How does the world respond when the very people tasked with documenting conflict become its victims? The events of that Sunday in Gaza force us to confront these uncomfortable but necessary questions, challenging us to consider the true cost of war, not just in lives lost, but in stories left untold. The 5 Al Jazeera journalists were not just names on a list. They were individuals with families, dreams, and a deep commitment to telling the truth. Each of them brought a unique perspective and voice to their reporting, shaped by the very streets and neighborhoods they called home. They were dedicated professionals documenting the war's impact on their own communities, often risking their lives to ensure the world could witness the realities unfolding in Gaza. Their work was not just a job, it was a calling, a responsibility they carried with courage and integrity. Anasal-Sharif, only 28, became a vital voice for Gaza, reporting amid chaos and personal loss, his own father killed in an earlier strike. Despite his grief, Anas continued to share the stories of his people, determined to give a face and a voice to those suffering in silence. Mohammed Kreke, along with cameramen Ibrahim Zahir, Mohammed Nufal, and Moamen Aliwa, brought the world images and stories that would otherwise go unseen. They navigated dangerous streets, capturing moments of hope and heartbreak, determined to document the truth no matter the cost. They worked in marked media areas, wearing press vests and helmets, fully aware of the risks but driven by a sense of duty. Every day they faced the threat of violence, yet they pressed on, believing that their reporting could make a difference. Their cameras and words translated the complex reality of war into a language understood worldwide. Through their lens, the world saw not just conflict, but the resilience and humanity of Gaza's people. Their deaths leave a gap in coverage from a region where independent reporting is already perilously scarce. The silence left behind is a stark reminder of the dangers journalists face and the vital role they play in our understanding of the world. The loss is a devastating blow to Al Jazeera and to the global journalistic community. Their legacy endures in the stories they told and the truths they revealed, inspiring others to continue the pursuit of honest, courageous reporting. On August 10, 2025, journalists from around the world gathered in a tent set up for media near Al-Shifa Hospital, a site recognized as protected under international law. The hospital, long considered a sanctuary for civilians and a vital hub for news coverage, had become a focal point for those seeking to document the realities of the conflict in Gaza. Reporters, camera crews, and correspondents worked side by side, sharing stories and updates with the outside world, even as the threat of violence loomed ever present. Without warning, a sudden and precise airstrike tore through the media tent. The blast was devastating, killing 5 Al Jazeera staff members and 2 others instantly. The attack left the area in chaos, with debris scattered across the hospital grounds and the air thick with dust and panic. Graphic footage captured the frantic moments that followed, as colleagues and emergency responders rushed to the scene, desperately searching for survivors. The loss of Anasal-Sharif and his team was quickly confirmed, sending shockwaves through the journalistic community and beyond. Just moments before the strike, Al-Sharif had been reporting live from the heart of Gaza, his final social media post describing the relentless bombardment and the fear that gripped the city. His words, broadcast to the world, would be his last. In the aftermath, a posthumous message he had prepared was shared by a close friend, a chilling reminder of the risks he and his colleagues faced every day. The message resonated deeply, highlighting the courage required to report from such a dangerous environment. Al-Shifa Hospital, once a shelter for thousands of displaced families and a bustling center for journalists, was transformed in an instant. The attack not only shattered lives but also struck at the heart of press freedom, sending a chilling message to those who risk everything to bear witness. The deliberate targeting of a media tent at this location was seen by many as an unmistakable attempt to silence independent journalism in northern Gaza. Cameras, microphones, and notepads, tools of truth, were left broken among the rubble. The world watched in horror as one of the last strongholds of frontline reporting was reduced to silence. The attack on Al-Shifa Hospital's press camp became a symbol of the growing dangers faced by journalists, and a stark reminder of the urgent need to protect those who risk their lives to tell the world the truth. In the aftermath, Al Jazeera condemned the strike as a targeted assassination, calling it a blatant attack on press freedom. The network insisted its journalists were non-combatants working in a designated media area and demanded international accountability. The Israel Defense Forces admitted to the strike but claimed Anasal-Sharif was a Hamas operative, not a journalist, though they offered no public evidence. The IDF statement focused solely on Al-Sharif, omitting mention of the other 4 journalists killed. Critics argue this tactic, labeling journalists as combatants after their deaths, deflects responsibility and muddies the truth. The clash of narratives left the world questioning who to believe and what really happened that day. The deaths on August 10th were part of a disturbing pattern of violence against journalists in Gaza, especially those with Al Jazeera. Press freedom groups and the UN had repeatedly warned that Anasal-Sharif's life was in danger, citing threats and unsubstantiated accusations from Israel. This was not the first such tragedy. In 2024, Al Jazeera's Ismail Al-Ghul was killed in a similar strike, with the IDF again claiming he was a combatant, claims the network denied. Other journalists, like Shireen Abu Akleh, have also been killed, with responsibility hotly disputed. The pattern is clear. Journalists are targeted, then posthumously accused of militancy, often without evidence. This strategy creates doubt, undermines the integrity of the press, and deflects from the core issue, the killing of journalists doing their jobs. The risks for local reporters have never been higher. The killing of the 5 Al Jazeera journalists sparked immediate outrage from the UN, press freedom groups, and news organizations worldwide. The UN called for a transparent investigation, emphasizing that journalists are civilians protected under international law. The Committee to Protect Journalists and Reporters Without Borders described the strike as a devastating blow to press freedom and demanded accountability. Newsrooms and reporters globally expressed solidarity, highlighting the essential role of local journalists in conflict reporting. The attack was widely condemned as a potential war crime and a chilling message to all who report from war zones. The international outcry underscored growing fears that protections for journalists are eroding. The deaths were not just a tragedy, they were a warning about the future of independent reporting in conflict. With international journalists barred from Gaza, local reporters have become the world's only window into the conflict. For them, the front line is home. They face the same dangers as everyone else, plus the added risk of being targeted for their work. Lacking resources and protection, they document the destruction of their own communities, often at great personal cost. Their press vests offer little real safety. Sometimes they make them more visible targets. The psychological toll is immense. Many have lost family, friends, and colleagues, yet continue to report. The absence of international witnesses means less accountability and greater vulnerability for local journalists. Their courage is matched only by the world's failure to protect them. The deaths of the Al Jazeera 5 are part of a much larger tragedy. Gaza has become the deadliest place in the world for journalists. Since October 2023, at least 186 journalists have been killed, most in Israeli airstrikes. Some estimates are even higher. The scale of loss surpasses that of entire wars in other regions, decimating Gaza's press corps. Each number is a life, a story, and a voice silenced. The loss is not just personal, it's strategic, creating dark spots in the world's understanding of the conflict. The chilling effect is real. Those who remain know they could be next, yet persist in their mission. When so many messengers are killed, the message itself is endangered. The deaths of these journalists mark a critical moment for the world. When reporters are killed with impunity, it signals a breakdown in the principles that protect both civilians and the truth. A free press is essential, especially in war. It provides accountability and humanity. Without independent reporting, the suffering of ordinary people remains invisible, and the powerful go unchallenged. The reliance on local journalists has brought stories of courage, but also exposed their vulnerability and the world's neglect. Protecting journalists means demanding investigations, accountability, and access for all media in conflict zones. The legacy of the Al Jazeera 5 and nearly 200 others lies in the work they left behind and our responsibility to ensure others can continue it. If we allow these voices to be silenced, we are left in darkness, unable to see, understand, or act.